What's up, family? My name is Gene Howard, the Purpose Driven Pastor, and you're joining me today on the Pursuing Purpose Podcast.
When you think about accomplishing goals in your life that seem unattainable, I realize that you're going to have to be slightly delusional. Now, listen, I don't want y'all to jump all over me. Okay, I'm not telling you to be crazy. But if you're ever going to tap in to the things that seem unattainable, the things that seem impossible, the things that seem out of your reach, you're going to have to believe things before they happen. You're going to have to believe that you can do things that you've never done. You're going to have to believe that you can climb to heights that you've never reached. You're going to have to believe that you can do things that seem unattainable to you. So what does that mean? It means that you have to tap into a level of yourself that you've never done, right? You have to tap into something inside of you that you've never tapped into. You're going to have to change your thinking. So I want to talk to you about being slightly delusional. That's right. Slightly delusional. So check this out, y'all. Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. King. We all speak so highly of Dr. King. Dr. King lived during a time where racism was prevalent. Jim Crow South is where he lived. He lived in a time where black people and white people found it very difficult to coexist. We didn't drink from the same fountains. We didn't go to the same schools. We didn't ride the same buses. When we were in work, we didn't work the same jobs. And Dr. King stood in front of a massive crowd of people, and he told all of them something that made him seem slightly delusional. He said, I have a dream that one day in the deep south of Alabama, little black girls and little black boys will join hands with little white boys and little white girls and be able to coexist. And during that time, everyone around him thought that he was slightly delusional. Martin, how can you say this? How can you say that you have a dream, you have a vision, you believe that we can live together in unity? Now, here we are in 2025, and we're doing it. We're working together. We're living together. We're accomplishing goals together. We have more interracial couples than we've ever had. And the world is challenging us to continue in that vein. Because after you obtain a goal, you have to then carry it out, right? It's not going to be easy. But in order to get to that place, you got to be slightly delusional. And Martin told them as he stood on those in front of that crowd, he told them that we're going to have to have faith. We're going to have faith, and with this faith, we'll be able to work together. We'll be able to pray together. We'll be able to struggle together. We'll be able to go to jail together. We'll be able to stand up for freedom together, knowing that one day we will be free. And Martin didn't get to live to see that. And here's what you got to understand. That the vision is not only about you. You walking in your purpose, you accomplishing the goals that God put inside of you, they're not only about you. The truth is, you may not ever get to realize those goals. Your job may be to lay the foundation for a future generation. In one of Martin's final speeches, he said that, listen, longevity has its place. But listen, I've been to the mountaintop. And for me, it's not about longevity. It's about fulfilling my purpose and fulfilling my assignment while I'm here. Listen, when you have that type of conversation, when you have that type of realization within yourself, you got to be slightly delusional. You got to be kind of thrown off and say to yourself, listen, I'm laying bricks for somebody else. I'm building a house for somebody else to live in. I'm creating opportunities not for myself, but for the future generation. Because Martin was someone who was unselfish. So y'all, today, I want you to consider, right? your level of belief. Your level of belief. What type of faith do you have? Huh? What do you believe that you can accomplish? But deeper than that, listen to this, guys. Listen to this. When you start believing, at some point, you got to start acting on that belief. You know, you might say, I believe that I can go back to school and get my GED. And it's cool. You know, it's cool to talk about it. But at some point, you got to go down to the office and you got to apply, right? At some point, you got to sit in the classroom and do the work. But you got to start with believing. And for some of y'all, you know, it's hard to believe that you can accomplish things that seem like you can't. There was a man that was in the Bible. His name was Abraham. If you ever go back to the book of Genesis, you'll hear a story about a man named Abraham. And God came to Abraham one day when he was 75 years old. He was an old man. And God told him at 75, Abraham, you're going to have a son. Abraham, not only will you have a son, but you're going to be the father of many nations. He was 75 years old. His wife, Sarah, was 66. And God told them, you're going to have a son. Now, can you imagine what went through Abraham's mind? Come on, God. Like, there's no way. But Abraham didn't even question God. Abraham was slightly delusional because he said, listen, even though I'm old, even though I've never had kids, even though my wife is barren and she can't have kids, I'm going to believe God. I'm going to believe what's seemingly impossible. I'm going to believe what I don't know can happen. So look how long it took. When Abraham first got the word about he was going to be a father, he was 75 years old. But he didn't actually have his son until he was 90. And see, y'all, what you got to realize is when you start believing that something is going to happen, that don't mean it's going to happen overnight. Listen, y'all, Dr. King believed and he had a dream that one day we would be desegregated. But he didn't even get to live to see it. That dream was for you and for me. And now they're trying to take it from us. Now they're trying to rip it away. Because when you walk in something that God put in front of you, the devil's always going to try to take it away. But you got to understand, y'all, you still got to believe. So listen, Abraham is 90 years old. And the angel comes to his wife and he says, Sarah, listen, you about to have a son. Now listen, y'all, at this point, let me think. Abraham's 99. Let me get it right. Abraham's 99 and his wife is 90 years old. And the angel comes to her and says, Sarah, you're going to have a son. And what does Sarah do? She laughs. Because sometimes when God tells people how big the vision is, sometimes when you tell people what is seemingly impossible, they look at you and they say, yo, you slightly delusional. There's no way you can start a business. How dare you think you can be successful? There's no way you're going to be the first millionaire in your family. How dare you believe that? There's no way you can kick your drug habit. There's no way you can get married. There's no way. There's going to be people in your life, they're going to see you and they're going to tell you, bro, you're slightly delusional. But you got to have faith. You got to look them in the eye and say, listen, bro, I know. Hey, listen, sis, I know. I know it seems like there's no way that this is possible. I know it seems like we're not going to be able to do this, but bro, listen. You got to be slightly delusional in order for you to be successful. So, look, y'all, Romans. Go with me to the Bible, y'all. Romans, the 4th chapter, chapter 4, and verse 17. Listen to what it says. It says that you got to speak things that be not as though they were. You got to speak things that seemingly are untrue. You got to say, listen, I am a child of God. Listen, I am amazing. I am successful. I am smart. I am wealthy. I am great. I'm better than what y'all trying to say I'm going to be. I'm stronger. I might feel weak, but with God, I'm strong. You got to say to yourself, listen, I know I'm sick, but I'm about to be healed. You got to speak things that be not as though they were real. You got to be slightly delusional. Y'all ain't feeling me here. See, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the rubber meets the road, family. Because if you're going to reach your goals, if you're going to find success in the things that you were created to do, you're going to have to be slightly delusional. You're going to have to believe, and until you believe, you'll never be able to achieve. You're going to have to believe. You're going to have faith. You're going to have to do things that you don't believe that you can do. You're going to have to be slightly delusional. So, one more scripture. Hebrews 11:1. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite scriptures of all time. It's one of my favorites. It says, now faith is the substance. Like faith is literally the makeup. Faith is literally the anatomy. It's the cells. It's the combination of things that you're hoping for. So listen, you want to go back to school, get your GED, or we're going to take a step further. Not only are you going to get your GED, you're going to get your bachelor's, you're going to get your master's, you're going to get your PhD, huh? Oh, you're going to build that credit? You want that perfect credit score? You can do it. You want to buy a house? Huh? You want to change the future trajectory for your family? It's going to take some faith. Now, faith is the substance, right? And faith is going to make you seem kind of delusional, okay? Trust me. When God told Noah to build an ark, he'd never heard of rain before. God said, listen, Noah, it's about to rain. Noah said, yo, I don't even know what rain is, but I'm going to build this boat. They never seen a boat. And you can imagine the people around him said, yo, Noah, you got to be crazy, bro. I know you're delusional. There's no way you're building this monstrosity of a thing. And Noah said, I don't care what y'all think. Listen, the only way you're going to be successful, we're going into 2026. Come on, I need to get your mind right. The only way you're going to be successful is when people tell you you're crazy, you look back at them and you say, yo, I know I'm slightly delusional because I believe that I can accomplish anything. I believe that I'm going to be successful. I believe that I'm going to walk in all my dreams. And not only do I believe, but I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to put in the energy. I'm going to put in the effort because faith is the substance of things hoped for. And it's the evidence of things that we can't see. So I want to encourage you today, family. Listen, you on the right track. You got to be like Dr. King. You got to tell people, listen, I have a dream that one day, that a day real soon, I'm going to be walking in everything God called me to be. Listen, y'all, your past does not define you. Let it strengthen and remind you that you have a purpose. I'm Gene Howard, the purpose-driven pastor, and this year, we're going to be slightly delusional.